Twinkle, do I have you on the line?
Hello, sir. Very good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, Twinkle. Okay, welcome to the mock interview.
Thank you, sir.
Twinkle, firstly, small clarification. When were you and how were you associated with IIM Lucknow?
Sir, I did my postgraduate program, which is an MBA from IIM Lucknow from 2014 to 2016. I passed out from IIM Lucknow in 2016.
And your La Rochelle, France.
Yes, sir.
You were on campus, a student on campus?
Yes, sir. I went to France, La Rochelle Business School for a semester there.
You got your degree from there, the MBA degree you got from there?
Yes, for that particular semester I got there, and in my final degree it is incorporated as in, the markings that I received from there are mentioned in my final degree.
And the other semesters you did from this place? Which
in total 6 semesters. 5 semesters I did from IIM Lucknow, and 1 semester I did from La Rochelle Business School.
Okay.
Located in Western France.
So you are associated with the E&Y?
Yes.
Why? What is the bell curve? What is the bell curve? Yeah.
Bell curve could be very well explained with the help of a normal distribution, wherein all the participants or stakeholders in a process are adjusted on a bell curve as per their performance. So most of the participants are in the middle part of the bell curve, and rest of them are adjusted at the front and backward.
To what use is it put? What is the use? How is it utilized by the companies?
So it is used in the performance appraisal process. It's used in the compensation process, as in all the employees are ranked on a bell curve, and as per that, the different bands of performance is provided to them, and accordingly the bonuses and all.
Can you explain to me whether when the curve goes up, what does it indicate about a performer, about an employee?
So when the curve goes up, as in if the employee falls in the middle bulge of the curve, that means the employee is performing average. And if it's in the back side of the curve, it's below optimal, and if in the forward side, it means the extraordinary performance by the employee.
Okay, you are fond of traveling.
Yes.
What is it? Traveling by road, traveling by rail, air travel? What is?
For me, traveling is more about the experience, whether it might be good or bad, and it can be through any means. It can be through air or train or by car or even on foot. It's not a problem. Treks we do on foot.
So you're mountain bound or sea bound?
Sir, I like sea, but I also like to explore mountains. So then nothing as such as in mountain bound or sea bound, but I love trekking as well. I love beaches as well.
Can you describe your most exhilarating experience on traveling in India?
Traveling in India. Sir, recently I went on a trek to Brahmatal. Brahmatal is a lake situated in the upper rungs of Himachal Pradesh. And we went on a trek. It was around 6 kilometers per day. It was a 6-day trek. 6 kilometers per day we had to trek for 4 days. And the rest of the 2 days we had to come down. So it was a good experience in the sense that I got to interact with a very wide group of people of the different age groups coming from different parts of India. And secondly, with India Hikes we did it. So they had a Green Trails initiative wherein we collected all the wastes and other wrappers and everything which was dumped in the mountains by fellow travelers or by some other means, and we used to collect it, and when we come back we used to give it for recycling.
How many kilometers did you do?
Sir, it was on average of 4 to when upward climb it was 4 to 6 kilometers per day, and downward climb was around 8 to 8 kilometers per day.
At what altitude?
Sir, it was at 15,000 feet. The lake was situated at 15,000 feet.
So that was the highest point you went up?
Yes.
15,000.
Yes. we could see the mountain Nanda Gulti and Mount Trishul from there. It was exhilarating, the view itself, and you, as in away from the civilization, hustle bustle, you get to absorb the true beauty of nature.
And what about what about the do's and don'ts? Briefly, what are do's and don'ts for our travelers? Trekking.
As in trekking?
Yeah.
So do's would be do's would be to keep oneself hydrated and full on energy. The second would be to keep one's mindset as positive, as in whatever you would be trekking, you won't give up, you will complete the entire trek which is there, and also you will help the fellow travelers. Don'ts would be to pay attention on whatever whatever you are eating, and whatever waste you are generating, you should keep it to yourself, so that when you come back, we give it for recycling and not leave it in the mountain ecosystem. And secondly, the don'ts would be we would be very eco-friendly way of living, so not to litter around. And don'ts would be that. So would be that.
Okay. Okay. Job. What is job? How do you evaluate a job? What is job evaluation?
Job evaluation. And so, in terms of designing a job evaluation, or
yes, suppose you were to go for a campus selection. How would you evaluate a job? How would you prioritize which job is better in terms of some parameters? What would be the parameters on which you would evaluate a job?
So first, I would look at the job designing. What are the job responsibilities, duties, and performance expected out of a job? Then I would design various key performance indicators, wherein I and allocate weightage to them, as in terms of effectiveness, performance, efficiency, and how much weightage I would give to them. And on those parameters, I would evaluate various jobs and give them maybe a rating out of 10.
For the civil services, I don't know whether this is the appropriate time to ask you, but let me take a chance on this. In civil services, they say that promotion should be linked to training. Unless you trained at a particular level for a particular job, you should not earn a promotion automatically. How important do you think should training be accorded for promotion?
Sir, I believe training is very much important for a promotion. When you step on a level up, you need a different a level up in your skill set, as well as your understanding as well. And training acts as a booster to it. So why not be aware? We should give a very well training to our civil servants, because they again are a decision maker for a wide. Their decisions would impact a wide variety of people. So I would say that training should be very well linked to promotion, and it should be an integral part of it. And we should be also be providing a very 360-degree training, not only in a particular domain as such, but in various other domains which could be of use to a civil servant in their decision making and consideration.
What is zero-based budgeting?
So zero-based budgeting is a form of budgeting wherein any preconceived notions or preconceived or previous budget allocations are not taken into account, wherein each department has to justify their demand for a particular budget based on, so from scratch, that actually whatever budget you are asking for, you have to justify why do you need it and what would be the outcome of it, rather than on the basis of, oh, last year we allotted so much, so this year we should be getting this much.
So ground zero should be previous year.
No, sir. Ground zero should be nothing. Like zero-based budgeting, as in each penny you should be justifying why you need that.
What is a joint venture?
The joint venture is a sort of collaboration between one or two multinational, two companies or two multinational companies, wherein they come together to pursue a particular objective.
How important? Yeah, I got your point.
Example,
yeah, please go ahead. That example, please give the example.
Sir, there was this joint venture of I think I am missing it maybe. Sir, you can continue.
Well, yeah. Okay. So my next question is, how important is ethics in marketing?
Hello.
How important?
Hello.
Twinkle, can you hear me? Twinkle?
Yes.
Am I audible?
Now I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. How important is ethics in marketing?
Sir, ethics is a core to marketing, I would say. An unethical marketer, and the difference between an ethical marketer is that an ethical marketer goes a long term, goes a long way, and has a longer vision than the unethical marketer. If a marketer is ethical, if a company is using ethical market, it earns the trust of the consumer, while the unethical marketer would not.
Yeah. In your IR, you've given IFS at number 2.
Yes, sir.
You become the foreign secretary, okay, for a while, and let's see you take a call on our coastal security measures. What are the areas, the focus areas that you would devote to as the foreign secretary of the country?
Core areas for the coastal security of the country.
Yes, yes.
So we have a 5,500 kilometer long coastline. Coastal security is an integral part of a national security. Core areas that I would be looking to, number one would be combating the sea, and what we call entry of pirates and terrorists in our coastal areas. Then secondly would be the trade of drugs and illegal substances, the illegal smuggling of gold. Secondly, third would be the refugee problem as in our coast. Fourth would be the I mean, this is not a security concern as such, but looking at the same time conserving the biodiversity of our coastal areas. That would be.
Okay. Why should India have pulled out of the RCEP?
Sir, India has rightly not shown much interest in RCEP, and it should have pulled out of RCEP because of various reasons. Number one would be it would have opened gates for the Chinese products to enter India and harm our domestic industries. Secondly, it was harmful for our the various provisions in it were not fair as per India's concern. And thirdly, it was harmful for our dairying industry as well. All the and fourthly, it wasn't providing the equal emphasis to our service industry, as in it was opening the gates for the foreign manufacturers to come to India, foreign manufacturing products to enter India, but the Indian service software providers and were not getting the equal entry opportunity into the other countries. So it was, and our GDP, it's a large chunk of our GDP is coming from service, so it would have been harmful.
In the government business interface, how would you evaluate the state participation in business? States' participation in business.
How would we evaluate?
How would you evaluate the state's participation in business?
Sir, it could be done on various parameters. Number one, if what the government is presently doing is like they are maintaining ease of doing index for states also. So that could be one. What secondly would we could be looking at what is the state domestic product which is coming from the industries and the business. Third would be the the employment the states are generating. Fourth would be the contribution of states in the export of the country. And I think the government has also come out with a export promotion index, which evaluates states on various exporting parameters, and which states are exporting much and which state has a better infrastructure for exports. Fifth would be what is the provision of infrastructure in the state for promoting the business. For example, Gujarat has a provision for a lot of special economic zones and continuous power supply for the industry. And how are the other states doing in these parameters?
Could you explain to me what is international taxation?
International taxation.
Yeah.
So, international taxation, whenever a company goes to a multinational company goes to another company and operates out of there or does business there, the taxes it has to pay, and if it is importing or exporting, what are the custom duties it has to pay would come in international taxes.
What would be, for instance, I would like to know your view on mergers and acquisitions. Is there any focus area on mergers and focus areas on acquisitions?
Focus area of the government, sir?
Yes.
So mergers and acquisitions. So merger is when two or more firms come together to form an entity. That is merger. Acquisition is when a firm takes over another firm, the control of the another firm. That is called acquisition. Government at present is looking at the mergers and mergers of a lot of banks to make big banks in the country who have more lending power to support the industries and the business in the country. So one is that, and acquisition. Government is also encouraging its larger PSUs to take over the smaller PSUs to generate do monetization of its products. So that is one of the ways the government is looking at it.
Cyber laws. Small talk on cyber laws.
Yes, sir. So, sir, we have various laws which are already existing for cyber security. One would be IT rules, Cyber Security Act 2013. But now, with the rise of social media and other platforms, we see that these laws are not adequate, as in because of the rising number of cyber attacks that we have faced in the last year in the COVID-19 situation from countries like China and other countries using it as a tool. We need to come up with new cyber laws. It could be cyber laws 2021, which should have a revamped provision for rules and regulations for regulating these platforms well, and also controlling the cyber attacks in the country. Like recently there was talk about that China might have attacked the power system in Mumbai last year during a crisis situation. So it is a medium which has become, cyber has become a medium of new war in the today's world. So we need to come up with new problems.
Twinkle, what would you, for instance, how would you describe yourself, or if I were to ask you to capsule yourself and to project yourself as a good civil servant, what would be the qualities in you that I would see in order to recommend you to the government to select you as a in one of the services that you've opted for?
Sir, I would describe myself as an individual who is experienced and who is integral, who is ambitious at the same time, very ground to earth, who would bring her diverse set of education and work experience in giving her best to do the job she is appointed for.
So the experience, and you said ambition.
Ambition, integrity, and my passion to work for the society, as I have been participating in many social and environmental initiatives whenever I got the time to.
Okay. Now, if an outsider, say a foreigner, someone from your university in La Rochelle, were to visit UP, Uttar Pradesh, what would you, how would you showcase the state to the person to not miss out on certain aspects of UP, and to give a go by to certain to not so important areas which are unique to UP? How would you showcase the state to him?
So, sir, if a friend of mine visits UP, I would first take him to Varanasi. I would so I would show him the culture of the Indian culture and different places. First would be I would take him for a travel ride to the ghats of Varanasi and tell them the importance of those ghats. Secondly, I would take him to Vrindavan. I would take him to various temples and showcase the various form of architecture we display in northern India. Third, I would take him to Taj Mahal and in Agra, and I would showcase the various. It's one of the UNESCO World Heritage sites and the importance of it. I would also take him to Lucknow, and I would also showcase him the chicken industries of Lucknow, the textile, the various cuisines the city has to offer, and also the Bada Imambara and the residency and the historical importance of it. So these would be the three, four places I would take him to.
And in cuisines, what would you recommend to him?
Sir, if he's a non-vegetarian, a Zalaki kebab, of course.
Okay. Now, let's talk something about your interest in the. Okay. What is randomized controlled trials? What are randomized controlled trials?
Sir, so randomized controlled trials are the trials wherein the outcome of the trial is totally random. It is not it is not predictable or something. It can take any possible values out of the all possible values. That is would be a randomized controlled trial.
So, but if they're breaking up into smaller groups, there's some concept, no, of the control of treatment groups, control that aspect. You explain to me what is how do you break up the groups into smaller groups in order to study them closely?
So that would be very based on the random selection of the participants of the group. If I am correct, I am not very sure about it. Sorry.
Okay, have you read about the railways integration of services into the Indian Railway Management Services? They have integrated 8 services. What was what was the purpose behind this?
Sorry, sir, I haven't read about it.
Okay, okay. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. What is a multicultural management?
Multicultural management is the management wherein the management is accommodative of all the of different cultures, and at the same time it promotes those through its HR policies and the policies of the organization.
Maybe my last question: how does Government of India follow post-audit or pre-audit practices?
Yes, the Government of India follows post-audit practices.
But do you find some certain incongruencies or certain weaknesses in the system, and we should go to pre-audit? Would that make a sense?
Sir, the problem is that the audit conducted by the government is not regular as such, as in it sometimes happens in 3 years, 4 years. Pre-audit could be good in the sense that it can set the guidelines which the company should be following, and when we do a post-audit, it would be easier as an analysis. But if we set the parameters before, so it could be of help.
Okay. Arvind Mohan Saab, shall we request Twinkle? I missed out because the chairman was not there. Can we request Twinkle to go? If you have a door behind you, can you just walk from the door so that we observe your etiquette in terms of your. So can you just go out and then come back again so we observe your movement?
Sir, I have a door which is a little vertically.
Doesn't matter. Just want to know the drill.
Good morning, sir.
Okay. Now, my last question to you is again on. See, something is happening in West Asia. Do you think that the Israel and Palestine, on the one nation theory and the two nation theory, there could be a sort of a meeting point somewhere?
Sir, I believe that there has to be a meeting point. Two nation theory was what United Nations had originally recommended to form two nations of Palestine and Israel based on the allocation of the land which Israel was supposed to cede to Palestinians to form their country. But over the years, we've seen that Israel hasn't been ceding it as per its promises, and due to the support of the powerful nations to Israel like US, it has often not delivered what it had promised to. So now, looking at the current politics and current situation in place, I would say that when Israel has support of lot of powerful nations, and Palestinians on the other hand are suffering a lot of uh, attacks and supremacy of a powerful nation, I think there should be a negotiation wherein we can reach a solution between one nation state and a two nation state, looking at the human rights are not violated and justice is done to both Palestinians and the Jews.
Yeah, that's about all. Arvind Mohan Saab?
Yes. So, Twinkle,
Sir, one more.
Chairman Saab is here, yeah, so he
Yes,
can start. Sir, you can start first, I think.
Okay. Yes, yes. I'm sorry, I was losing connectivity. There's some problem in my electricity supply. Before I lose all of you again, Twinkle,
Yes, sir.
I wanted to know who in the modern Indian history inspires you the most and why?
Sir, Raja Ram Mohan Roy ji inspires me the most because at that time when we had no visionary, when we were under foreign rule, he had the courage to stand up for multitude of issues. One would be women rights. The second was the journalism, the press. Third was at that time he was a visionary, wherein he appreciated the good qualities of the West and also maintain the sanctity and the respect and the value of the Indian culture as well. And he stood for logic in those times when people were not even aware of what our rights are. So Raja Ram Mohan Roy ji would undoubtedly would be my inspiration.
Have you also read something about Dr. B.R. Ambedkar?
Yes, sir.
So how does Dr. B.R. Ambedkar compare with Raja Ram Mohan Roy in terms of social changes that he brought? And where does Gandhi fit in where does Mahatma Gandhi fit in between Raja Ram Mohan Roy and B.R. Ambedkar?
Sir, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was a visionary who fought for the right of the downtrodden. And in those times when India had strict caste system, he had the courage to rise up. So if we compare, if we like link him to Raja Ram Mohan Roy ji, he fought for the right of the downtrodden, and secondly, he fought also for the women rights in the Hindu. For example, it can be seen in the Hindu Code Bill of 1955, wherein he fought for the right to property and right to equal rights for the women, which Raja Ram Mohan Roy ji also fought for. Third would be both Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and Raja Ram Mohan Roy were in the favor of setting up industries in India, as in which provides employment, which gives equality, and also for the labor rights. These were the three things. Also, Mahatma Gandhi can also worked on a lot of these issues. For example, he asked for respect and equal rights for women. Secondly, he also worked for the downtrodden, which he called Harijans, wherein he wanted a society which is more equal. But the difference was that Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was more inclined towards the root removing the root of the caste system, and Gandhiji was like, the caste system is based on one's profession and should not be stereotyped. That would be his contribution.
Have you heard of the Pune Pact?
Yes, sir. 1932 Pune Pact.
What was it about? And the pact was between whom?
So the Britishers had held 3 roundtable conferences. In the third roundtable conference, they gave reservation and separate separate, we call that separate. I'm missing the term, separate, as in wherein the members of your society vote for the leaders of a particular caste.
Reserve constituency.
Yes, sir.
Reserve.
Sorry. Reserve
Reserve
constituencies to the SCs and STs, which Dr. Ambedkar fought for, while Gandhiji insisted on that they are an integral part of Hinduism and it divides Hinduism. So this pact was between Raja of who represented Gandhiji, Congress, and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, wherein the reserved SCs and STs were given double the number of seats in the parliament, and while they agreed to remain in the fold of Hinduism.
What do you think are the main qualities of a good leader?
Sir, a good leader should be able to lead by example. He should be courageous and fearless. He should be integral, and he should be able to motivate his followers in the right direction, towards the right vision. So Dr. B.R. Ambedkar can be called a great leader. Gandhiji could be called a great leader.
Can there be a leader who doesn't know his job?
Sir, the main job of a leader is to give a vision to its follower, to his or her followers, and to inspire confidence in them. So I think without that, he couldn't be a leader. He or she cannot be a leader. So I don't think so that if he doesn't know his job.
Good. Mr. Arvind Mohan.
Yes, sir. So, Twinkle, you have been associated with digital marketing.
Yes, sir.
So, how does the digital marketing technique differ from the normal marketing techniques?
So with the advent of social media, the digital marketing has taken a front seat for all the organizations today. So with digital marketing, for example, has a greater reach, greater simultaneous reach as compared to the traditional media, which generally depends on newspaper, television, and advertisement. Secondly, digital marketing is more customized and more target audience oriented, because it uses data and artificial intelligence, machine learning to target its segment group, while the traditional marketing is designed for the target group, but it's all the segments of the market do go through the same advertisement. Thirdly, I would say that digital marketing also generates instant leads, like through pay through click, and once you can just shop through a click, while traditional marketing has to work on deep distribution channels and reaching the last mile connectivity that way.
Okay. Now, you were also a spoke for placement team.
Yes, sir.
So, I just want to know from you, what is the role of a spoke?
Sir,
In any organization, not in that team, I would say.
The spokesperson is someone who is a representative of the organization. Can be in a certain meeting or in a.
Sorry, no. You are spoke, not spokesperson. You are confusing. There is a difference. There is a difference.
Contact.
Single point of contact.
Single point of contact. Yes.
So I want to know that role. Every organization assigns somebody as a spoke. So what is the role to be played by a spoke?
So the role of a person who is a single point of contact is to represent the organization and also at the same time to take care of the party which has been uh, associating with the main organization. A spock has to be really responsible and also at the same time representative of the values and vision of the organization he or she is carrying.
What about that single point of contact?
So single point of
you still missed that aspect. Okay. You were working with Ernst and Young.
Yes.
What was the business E&Y is into?
Sir, EY is into several businesses. One would be audit. Second would be assurance. Third is advisory, which I was working with as a part of. So these are the main. Tax and legal assurance is also another.
Right. Now, lately, Government of India, especially Reserve Bank of India, they came out with certain guidelines for these institutions who are engaged in audit business. You are aware of what the guidelines were?
Yes, I'm aware of some guidelines. The number one was that the companies are supposed to rotate the auditors and not employ one auditor for a longer period. Second was some compliance RBI had laid, which the auditors had to follow. So these two only, I can't recall others right now.
Okay. You are aware what's a conflict of interest?
Yes.
What is that?
The conflict of interest is a situation wherein two interests are opposing each other. As in, it can be my personal interest coming in conflict with my professional interest that way. And it is very well linked to the auditors. As in, a lot of times companies pay their auditors, and the auditors are auditing their the one who is paying them. So there is always a conflict of interest there.
So when E&Y and companies like E&Y were performing the role of an auditor as well as an advisor, as well as for assurances, wasn't there a conflict of interest?
So the EY as a rule did not take the same clients or the same departments which it is auditing in its advisory business as well. So as a rule of thumb, they tried to, even if they are working for the same company, it would be different departments that they are auditing and consulting, providing advisory.
Okay. I couldn't understand the one term you have mentioned, PPI at Titan. What was that PPI?
It's a pre-placement interview that I was awarded as a performer.
Okay. Now, these terms like this PPI, SPOC, they are not very common. So when you fill up your DAP or even otherwise when you're speaking to someone, you have to be careful not to use these terms as such. You have to be explanatory in your talk. Okay. Now, the multinationals, when they came to India after liberalization, they followed a certain policy to slowly gain the business. Can you give some details of that strategy? Slowly they came, and after some time, after say 2-3 years, the Indian companies were virtually out of business in certain areas.
So as a part of LPG reforms, there were various, under the pressure of IMF and World Bank, there were various reforms, laws brought in by the Indian government, which promoted the foreign firms to come into India. For example, the ICICI Bank and various Axis Bank and other banks which were not there, they slowly took the place of the Indian banks in the retail sector. So, so your question was sorry about the.
For example, I'll take a specific example, Gillette.
Yes, sir.
When Gillette came, there were so many manufacturers of razors and blades, but slowly all of them went out of business. So they followed some strategy. It was basically a marketing strategy.
So I'll try. It was because of the better quality of the product at a lower price. And Indian competitors did not have a very well tested
No.
technology and R&D at that time, so they were able to outplace them.
I'll cover that in my feedback.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, as a person who has been engaged in marketing, what's a moment of truth?
Moment of truth.
Yes.
That the moment of truth is that you are selling your product to the consumer at the end for the profit of the company. That's the moment of truth. But I would say there is a lot of pride associated with the service you are providing to the customer, and you are making a job easier for the customer.
Okay.
And if you are doing it ethically, it is always a moment of pride. As in, I worked with a lot of Procter and Gamble campaigns like Shiksha campaign, where in one way we are selling our registers, but at the same time, a part of our profit is going for educating an underprivileged kid because of the Shiksha.
That is CSR. That is CSR. Yes. I ask another question which will give you a hint for that. Why is grievance redressal system very important for a company?
Very important for?
For any organization.
So grievance redressal system is important for very organized, because grievance redressal system is like an ear of the organization, wherein you can hear the complaints of the user, the experience of the user or the consumer you are providing your service to, and it helps you improve your own service or product. So it's like a free, it can be today through social media websites, Twitter, that you get to hear what your consumer or your end, like the beneficiaries of a government scheme are feeling about it, how much it is actually benefiting them. And we can also improve our schemes going forward.
How can we convert a complaint into an opportunity?
Also, complaint is like an honest critique of our service or a product, and when we can look where we are lacking and we can work towards it, and then we can measure whatever initiatives we are taking, what was the data before that, and what is the data after that, and also here to our consumers.
Now that moment of truth which I asked was highly related to this complaint.
Okay.
Anyway, we'll cover that. There are two social evils in our society, dowry and corruption. According to you, which one is more dangerous?
Sir, both are equally dangerous, and dowry is also a form of corruption, I would say.
Now, I asked you for one. They are both dangerous, yes. So don't be diplomatic. You will become a diplomat later on, fine.
Sir, I believe that I cannot say that dowry is less evil than corruption. I would say corruption, if you ask me to prioritize, corruption is a bigger evil, as it is affecting the whole spectrum of the society. And dowry is also in general more harmful for a female, and it is also affecting the whole spectrum of the society.
Fine. Thank you. So your interview ends here. And now we'll start with our feedback. Okay.
Very quickly, Twinkle, see 2-3 things. At one certain aberrations that I noticed, I'll just mention to you. You looked up once or twice into the sky, sort of, while answering one or two, maybe unconsciously, subconsciously, but it was an aberration, sort of. In an interview, when you're sitting across the board, UPSC board, you may not be doing so. Firstly. Secondly, gesturing of your hands was too obvious. You gestured with your hands. The way out of it would be either clasp your hands or put your hands on the armrest of the chair or whatever, but you cannot do so. I mean, you can't be gesturing with your hand. Second,
I should look down rather than looking up. I can look down, right? If I
rather look at the board politely, gently. Look at the members of the board, the person who is asking you a question, and then engage all of them politely, one at a time, one by one. So that sort of thing. But certainly not gesturing with your hands. Then, third, while giving example to zero-based budget, you halted unusually long. Perhaps you forgot the point or something. So why it is not my intention to fault you on this, but only that if you, before you begin to respond to a situation or to a question, if you can just think it over as to what you are going to say, then perhaps this pause would not have occurred. If you had thought of giving the reply to a zero-based budget question, along with that the example as well, if you had thought over it 3-4 seconds before you actually attempted it, then it would not have occurred.
Yes.
That is the only point I'm trying to make. Okay. Then one thing is that you, at one point of time, you clapped your hand.
Oh,
You clapped.
I don't like this.
Yeah, it clapped. You clapped. I could hear it. So just, I mean, just to make you, not to make you very conscious of it, but I mean, just points that you can keep in mind. Ideally, what you can do, Twinkle, sit before a mirror or ask a friend of yours to, whatever points we've given to you, you give it to that friend to see whether you repeat them or you're out of them, out of those habits. Or then
I will practice more and to keep.
Yeah, Twinkle, 2 more points.
Yes.
On that point as to what is good about you, that you are a good civil servant, you'll make a good civil servant. You mentioned quite a bit, quite a few of them, but I would not take them very, loyalty. I mean, sorry, you said integrity, and integrity is still all right, but ambition is certainly not acceptable. Ambition it is not to fulfill an ambition that you are going into the services. You are to serve you are going to serve, to render service to the nation, to the people, to society, whatever, but certainly not to realize your ambition.
I agree. I did not word it very well. So whatever came to my mind, I said that. I need to work on
that. Then what should have come to you that you missed out was your, that you can perhaps pick up on on some aspects of management, like your e-governance, for instance, ethics. These are aspects of management that you can really hold on to and say that these are aspects of governance I would introduce in my area of whatever service I'm doing, whether it is police, whether it is administration, whether it is income tax, custom, whatever service you get. But it will be these aspects of management that will hold you in good stead to deliver. Okay. The aspects of management, because not many people with management get into the service or are likely to get to the interview board. So it will stand you out among the. Then your loyalty to the subject. That is one thing. You've stood by management. You stood by this. So you've taken it up to the the optional. So your loyalty, passion. It only shows your passion into something.
Yes.
You've got a passion for management, you've taken it to right up to the optional stage, to the mains. That is about all. Then about UP, one point, when you were mentioning Uttar Pradesh, twice you mentioned Varanasi and Vrindavan, twice. Rather, I would have expected you to take the person down from Western UP to Eastern UP and then see the colors, how it changes, how the hue changes. From Western UP, the dress, the cuisine, the language, everything changes from West to East. So then you get to see a mini India sort of. That is a word that you could have used, mini India.
Yes.
And of course, the colorful festivals of UP. These are some areas, Twinkle. Otherwise, you had all the contents at your fingertips. Your answers to the management topics were perfect. I'm rather impressed. But these small things, I just thought that. Then audit is one part. You will bring auditing into governance. That is very important. Because many of the cases that emerge out of for disciplinary proceedings against the government servants emerge out of audit only. So these are areas that you could perhaps say in your favor.
I believe that I could have answered much more better.
You will do so. I know you will do so. Mantra wahi hai. Mantra is that you will think before you actually start attempt the response. That is it. That will see you through. All the best, Twinkle.
Thank you, sir.
And
Sir,
sorry, Chairman Saab, actually, आपको हम नहीं देखे तो we start. I requested Twinkle to go and come in through the door. वहाँ पर एक observation I don't know आप, तो मैं उस पर बता दूं दोनों चीज पर. Twinkle, आप when you walked in and perhaps thinking that we had already started off with the interview, so you didn't wait to be asked to be seated. You came straight to your seat and presuming that it's your seat, it's meant for you, so you sat down.
I forgot that, sir. Yes.
It's all right. Maybe because it was halfway through we had started, so maybe because of that. Then your dress code. Let me now. Yeah, Chairman Saab will will say a word on the dress code. I'm through. मेरा हो गया observations.
Okay. Now, Twinkle, your concepts of management, they are very good. And you have to use that as an asset during your interview. Because you are going to bring something unique from your side for IAS. Okay, so that is an asset you have, and you have to be very sure about it when you go for it. Your answer to digital marketing was excellent, I would say.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Then I asked you something about moment of truth. Now, moment of truth is a situation which can mar or make a relationship. Okay. Either it will be totally snapped or it will become a very strong relationship. That the way we act at that point. So complaint is also a moment of truth. Somebody comes to me with a complaint. How I handle that complaint? If I handle it very nicely to the satisfaction of the person, then later on also if he has to move away from my product, he will not. So that is even today, the way our government is handling the COVID crisis, it is being said that it is a moment of truth for this government. If they score through it with flying colors, people will stick to them. But if they don't, people will move away. So that is the kind of situation that moment of truth is. Okay. And then we had something like conflict of interest. I explained to you. And corruption and this dowry. Now corruption is certainly more dangerous because it is far, far widespread. Dowry affects a certain class of society, but corruption is affecting everybody in the society. And what's the worst part of it is that if I ask for dowry, my relations may not view me very kindly. But if they come to know that I got some work done from them, they come to me with some work, I get it done from them. It is also a sort of corruption, but they will be appreciating it. Although I got it done for him at the expense of somebody else.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that too is a form of corruption, but it is now in this case, it is not being viewed as something evil by the other persons. So that is why it is much more dangerous.
Yes, sir.
And regarding this, because they may also ask you to explain PPI and SPOC, and the role of a SPOC is, as the name indicates, single point of contact. If I have anything to do with that company or organization, I need not go to somebody else. Who is the person handling it? Who is the department? I did not know. I'll go to that person, say, I need this. Now it is for that person to arrange the thing to be done for me. So that is the role of a SPOC.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And just take care of, one thing I wanted to say was that when you are being asked a question, you look with great focus on that person. Your brows are also like this, and it may frighten away the person. So be cool. And
this video call that the voice is not very loud, so I was like, I shouldn't.
So maybe due to that, but in other way also, you have to be cool and calm, sitting and listen to the question. At that time, you're looking at the person, but not I would say, not staring as such. And when you're answering, you look at all the persons, all the members of the board, not just the person who asked the question. Here it was not possible in this. Okay. So now over to Chairman Saab for his comments.
हाँ ट्विंकल, आप बताइए आपको अपना इंटरव्यू कैसा लगा?
Sir, I believe that I could have done much better in some of the questions, sir. Like Rajiv sir asked some of the international questions, and others questions I could have been little more precise, I think, and little more structured, I guess. तो मुझे लगता है कि अभी काफी improve करना पड़ेगा, and little more I should be more like little less staring and little more smiling.
नहीं, देखिए आपको बता दिया गया है कि वो जो थोड़ी सी गलती आपसे हुई जब आप अंदर आई, वो तो खैर इसलिए हुआ क्योंकि हम लोगों ने बीच में आपको इंटरव्यू के बीच में कहा बाहर जाके अंदर आने के लिए, तो उस बात को भूल जाइए. वैसे यू आर अ पिक्चर ऑफ सुप्रीम कॉन्फिडेंस. In fact, if I may be permitted to say so, you appeared a bit too confident. You are so well informed, and your knowledge base is so wide and varied that you had an answer to every question, and you were going, at a speed, and with you had so much to offer that one got the impression that you were a bit too confident. So what I would try to say, suggest to you is that bit a little mellower, in the sense that speak a little slowly, a little more clearly, and communicate whatever you have to say in a more concise and precise way. I was very impressed with your knowledge base, particularly about your knowledge on modern Indian history, and your selecting Raja Ram Mohan Roy as your favorite top subject, favorite personality of modern Indian history. I found it really remarkable. That means you have a great knowledge of modern Indian history, and you are not a history student, you are a management student, yet you know so much about modern Indian history is something really creditable. And there was no point of the interview in which you were found kind of on a weak wicket. You were generally, you held your ground, you spoke. Just थोड़ा सा आराम से और आहिस्ता आराम से बात कीजिएगा. बहुत ज़्यादा दर बात करने से कई दफा वो उल्टा इंप्रेशन चला जाता है. मेरी बात से आप सहमत हैं कि नहीं?
नहीं सर, आप बिल्कुल सही कह रहे हैं. I need to work on little more, being more little mellowed down and little up. I should be coming across as a little more, not very overconfident, but as humble. A bureaucrat should be humble so that he or she is able to reach to everyone. So I have to work on this.
हाँ, कहते हैं ना कि जब पेड़ फल से लदा होता है तो झुक जाता है. तो you are overladen with knowledge. नॉलेज की कोई कमी नहीं है, लेकिन उस नॉलेज से आपको और हम्बल हो जाना है, और ये हो जाता है. और आराम से आपके आंसर्स जितने भी आपने जवाब दिए, उसकी क्वालिटी बहुत अच्छी थी. बहुत कम कैंडिडेट्स ने इतना अच्छा नॉलेज बेस दिखाया है जितना आपका नॉलेज था, और हर तरह से आपका इंटरव्यू बहुत प्रभावशाली रहा है, बहुत शानदार रहा है. एक दो चीज ये सब देख लेंगी तो आप बिल्कुल ठीक रहेंगी. और ड्रेस कोड का जहाँ तक सवाल है, आपको पता है कि साड़ी पहननी चाहिए.
Yes,
और लाइट कलर की साड़ी हो. जैसे अभी आपने जो सलवार कमीज पहन रखी है, ये भी लाइट कलर की है, तो करीब करीब इसी के ऐसा. डोंट वेयर पिंक, रेड, नो ब्राइट येलोज.
cream sari with little black
क्रीम
border.
साड़ी. हाँ, with a what kind of border? Sorry.
So it has triangular black and cream border. It's
Black
not
border.
black and cream. It's a mix of that.
Okay.
If you permit, I can send a photograph. Maybe if you can just get it.
नहीं, आप भेज दीजिएगा, हम बता देंगे. क्योंकि ये सब चीज जो है फर्स्ट इंप्रेशन होते हैं. फर्स्ट इंप्रेशन है हाउ यू आर टर्न्ड आउट, हाउ यू वॉक इन, हाउ यू ग्रीट, हाउ यू सिट डाउन, These are first impression. As they say, first impression is the last impression. So first impression should be good. But you are an outstanding candidate, and I'm sure you will come out with flying colors. Just keep these little things in mind, and you will be doing fine. Okay?
Okay.
All the best to you.
Thank you so much, sir. It's my honor that I got an opportunity to interact with all of you, sirs. And I wish in future we can catch up for a cup of coffee sometime, someday. World is small, so if I can I get an opportunity.
Twinkle, we have overshot the time, but two observations. You are again gesturing with your hands, just to point it out to you, just to underline. Number two, never use the term bureaucrat. You said as a bureaucrat, it should be a civil servant, not a bureaucrat.
Okay, sir, is it taken in negative
Yes.
sense? I'll note that.
Bureaucrat. और एक जगह ट्विंकल
Yes,
अरविंद मोहन साहब ने आपसे एक सवाल पूछा, आपको ठीक से सुनाई नहीं पड़ा या आप पूछना चाहती थी, तो आपने उन्हीं का रिपीट कर दिया. As in, instead of saying sorry sir या excuse me sir, I didn't get you, आपने उस सवाल उनसे जो सवाल पूछा, जो उन्होंने बात कही थी उसी को क्वेश्चन मार्क बना के रिपीट किया. आपको ख्याल आ रहा है?
Yes sir, that was wrong.
हाँ.
No, in general,
So you have to say.
So I should say sorry sir, I couldn't hear the question. Could you please?
Yeah. I'm sorry sir. Can you repeat, or is it possible that I hear it again? So just be careful, because one little act of one slip up like this, you lose certain marks. When everything is going perfect, a little slip up like that will not serve you in good stead. So I wish you all the best. May God bless you. And okay, all the best. Bye-bye.